Hi, this is Marek from Tryb Solo, and today I want to tell you more about Between Two Cities, a game from Stonemaier Games. Thanks Stonemaier for sending the game for review. And this is not a new game, but I was always curious about it because I've played Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, a game also released by Stonemaier Games. And I knew that Between Two Castles was based on Between Two Cities, not only by name but also by they share similar gameplay. So now I have it, I can tell you more about it. And Between Two Cities is a game where you will try to build a city. You will draft tiles that you will place in your city. During the game you will get 16 tiles, so you will have a city built on a square 4x4, and in the cities you will have different types of buildings because you will have pubs, restaurants, factories, shops, parks, houses, and every type of these buildings gives you different number of points for different things. Like you have shops, but shops will give you more points if they are placed in one line, or you will get houses, and the more other types of building you have in your city, the more points every house will give you. But if you place a house in your factory, you will not get many points. So there are a lot of dependencies and a lot of things that you have to think about when you plan and develop your city. Now I will show you the components and what you will find inside this box, and then I will tell you what I think about this game, how does it play. It's a game from 1 to 7 players, so I think this is very unique. So after the unboxing I will tell you what I think about Between Two Cities. So this is the box of Between Two Cities. This box is quite compact, not that thick, so this is quite good because you can easily take this game with you for a game night. And what we have inside? First we have cards. These are help cards for every player that tell you how every type of tile scores at the end of the game, so we can give one to each player. Then we have this is fun because this is a seat organizer, and if you don't know or if you cannot decide where every player should sit by the table, you can use these cards. And for example, in this case players will sit by alphabetical by first letter of current favorite game. So this is really fun. It's easy to determine who sits where, because in this game you have to work with both players on your left and right. So it's a nice idea to randomize it, so not always people who like each other sit in the same spaces. Really cool idea. And the third deck of cards is used for solo play, for Automa, because you have solo mode here created by Automa Factory, and you use this deck of cards to determine which tiles will Automa take. Both Automa, to be precise, because you play against two Automa opponents. So we have the cards. Now we have really nice wooden cities that are used to mark every city, and then you use the second city for scoring. So you place one by a city on the table and the second one on the scoring board, and that's really cool. So we have the cities. Now we have rule books, and we have 3 rule books, because this is the main one that tells you how to play the game, which is obvious. It tells you how every type of city tile scores, and this is really nice because it also explains you the idea behind it. Like if you have factories and you build houses, it tells you that for example the most industrial cities become known for their work and attract even more industrial development, and it explains you why certain types of tiles score this way and not another way. So this is really cool. It also tells you how to play the two-player variant, because if you play with 2 players, it's a little different, and a quick reference guide on the back. Now we have 2 additional rule books. Let me take them out. This one is another variant for the game, a more competitive variant for experienced players. And here are the rules for using Automa for playing a 2-player game. So a lot of ways to play the game. And here is the 3rd rule book that tells you how to use Automa. And again, you have 2 different variants. You have simple mode and full mode. So a lot of ways to play the game. You have solo mode, easy and more advanced. You have 2-player game, 2-player game with Automa, regular multiplayer variant, and multiplayer variant with more competitive rules. So it's really fun. And here we have a scoring board. It's quite big, and you can use it to track points for every city at the end of the game. So you don't use any scoring notebook, you just use this board. And the rest of the content of this game are the tiles, and you have really a lot of them. You may think that this is a mess here, but even in the rule book they show you that you can use the box to store the tiles. So when you play the game, you just open the box, you leave this on the table, and you take tiles from this box. So it's a very convenient way to store everything. And you have a lot of city tiles, because you will build a city in this game, and during the game you will get 16 different tiles, or you can say squares, with different type of buildings. So in total you will have 16 buildings inside your city, and you will have to score and calculate points. And every type of building, there are 6 types, scores differently, because for example, factories. Each factory can give you 2, 3 or 4 points depending on the it depends if your city is the one that has most factories. So the city with most factories will give you 4 points for every factory. The second city with most factories will give 3 points, and the rest 2. Or you have houses, for example, and every house give you a number of points for different types of tiles that you have in your city. So if you have, apart from the house, you have 4 other types of buildings, you will get 4 points for a house. But if a house is located near factory, it will give you only 1 point, because people don't want to live near factories. You have gardens, and if you have one garden, it gives you 2 points, but if there are 2 adjacent gardens, they give you 8 points, or 12 points if there are 3 of them. You have, shops, you have a lot of different buildings. And in this game you have draft, so you always at the start of the round you get 7 tiles, you pick 2 and you give the remaining 5 to other player, and so on and so on. And there are also duplex tiles, and they are more complex because they already contain 2 tiles combined. And on the second round of the game you will have to draft these tiles and put them inside your city, and they are not easy to be placed in your city because they are connected and you have to place them like this. You cannot rotate them, so sometimes it's not easy to fit them in your city, so it fits your idea for the scoring. So but basically it, you have the small tiles, the big tiles, and the cards, the rule books, and the small city tokens. So let me tell you what I think about this game and how does it play. Between Two Cities, even though it's not a brand new game, I know that there's the cult of the new and people try to play only the new games. Even though this is not a brand new game, it's a really good set collection game or tile placement game, because you collect different sets or types of buildings. And if you like games where you use tiles, like I don't know, Carcassonne, or maybe Overboss, or Between Two Castles. Between Two Cities is a game that you will probably like. It's a game from 1 to 7 players, and this is very unique. I don't think I have another game for 7 players, maybe Between Two Castles, but there are not many games for that number of players that are not like party games. The game is quite fast. I think you can finish this game in 10-15 minutes, so the gameplay time is really good. But the most unique thing about this game is when you play multiplayer game is that you don't build your own city, but you are building 2 different cities with people sitting on your left and on your right, so with your 2 neighbors. And this is very unique, because usually when you have games like this, or most games, you try to build your own thing. I don't know, a city, anything. But here, when you draft tiles, you will add 1 tile to your city on the left and 1 tile to the city on the right, and you will be able to discuss the strategy with your partner on your left and right. But the most clever thing is that at the end of the game you will get points only for the worst city. So if you have 2 cities and one will give you 100 points and the second city will give you 50 points, your final score is 50 points. So you cannot only focus on one city and make it a beautiful city that will give you many points, but you also have to focus on the other city. And this is very clever, because you always have to think which tile to add to which city, so they are more or less balanced. When you play a 2-player variant, it plays a little differently, because every player is creating 2 cities alone, not with anyone else, because there are only 2 players, and you will get the number of points combined from these 2 cities. So the 2-player variant is a little different. Unless you use Automa. If you use Automa for a 2-player game, then you will play the regular rules. This game, you have seen it in the unboxing part of the video, includes a lot of different ways to play the game, because you can play from 3 to 7 players the regular game. You have a more competitive variant for 3 to 7 players. You have a 2-player variant where you can every player builds 2 cities. You have a 2-player variant with Automa, but you also have a solo mode. In the solo mode, you play against 2 opponents, about 2 automas. So you are building a city with every automa, but both automas are also building a city together. So there are 3 cities in total. And in solo mode, you have 2 different variants. One is the easy one, quicker one, when you mostly decide which tile add to which city. And the more advanced variant is using a deck of cards. You have a deck of cards, and for every automa you take 1 card, and the card tells you automa has got tiles, like hand of tiles. The second automa has got a hand of tiles. You have the hand of tiles, and the automa card tells you which tile automa will add to which city. So it's more complex, but more like it feels more like playing with living players, because the first mode is more like a puzzle. But it's nice that they included so many options to play this game in such a small box. What I don't like about this game is maybe the art. It's very surprising, because the art was created by Beth Sobel, and I know that Beth Sobel creates beautiful art and everything nowadays, but maybe 7-8 years ago when this game was released, she wasn't such a great artist. I don't know, but I'm not a very fan of this art. It's like a little grayish, not very colorful, and all the buildings look more or less similar in the same group. But as it goes for gameplay, it's a nice, quick game that you can play with a lot of different number of players. And I like that you have a game that you can play with 7 people, and it's not a party game. I'm not a fan of party games, so you can play a normal game with so many players. If you like set collection games or tile games, I think you can give Between Two Cities a try. It's a very solid game. If you like this video, click the like button. If you like the video, you can also subscribe to my channel. There are a lot of videos, not all of them are in English, but a lot of them are in English. You can visit my Instagram, you can visit my Twitter or Facebook. You will find links in the description of this video. And thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.